Welcome to this episode of moMONEY. I'm Alexander Paul Morris, your host, and let's talk about no inflation. No inflation here, no inflation there, no inflation anywhere. Why can't people just believe it? Well, maybe because prices seem to be spiraling higher day after day for general necessities. But corporate profits are up, the markets are booming. Well, actually, I guess commodity prices are soaring too, but thank goodness there's no inflation here. In fact, there is so little inflation, why should we, the Federal Reserve, bother telling anyone how much new money we keep printing? Gosh, imagine how rich I could be if I could do that and not go to jail.
Wow.
But hey, the stock market keeps roaring ahead. Well, yeah, keep dumping more cheap money into the economy, otherwise known as adding liquidity, and hopefully a good chunk of it will end up in the right stock indices. Companies are making more money, yeah, they are. But remember, it's cheaper money, which of course we're still taxed on all the same. Now just think, if the Fed is actually printing money at closer to a 7.5% annualized rate, well, even a 10% annual rate on your investment doesn't seem quite so amazing. And forget about the 4% you're maybe getting now. In fact, I wonder how all the long-term track records would look if there was no inflation at all these past years. Because in fact, the exponential expansion of the money supply seems to have been the greatest stock market booster of all. I mean, where do you think all these new dollars, created out of thin air, end up? At least the government is still willing to tell us the small numbers. M1, how much cash is in circulation? And M2, adding in savings and CDs of less than 100,000 bucks? Well, there are money market funds in there too. So why don't we need to know about M3? Well, maybe because that's the number that shows our money supply growing closer to a 7.5% annualized rate. It also shows what the big boys, big government, and big institutions are doing. You know, for all the excuses made by the Fed for no longer publishing these figures, the old adage is if you want to know what's up, just follow the money. If you want to see how deep it goes, you better follow the big money. You mean M3? For anyone who's been disappointed with the ridiculous way that inflation rates are currently calculated, not including housing, food, and energy, and the incredible growth of our money supply already, I can only imagine what's in store. For those ready to blame Bush, don't bother. This really is a bipartisan issue, which has continually gotten worse since Nixon completely took us off the gold standard back in '71. It didn't actually start there. Roosevelt, in fact, outlawed private gold ownership in '33. Imagine being able to go to jail because you owned gold? The real start of all our woes, however, is in fact that fateful day, December 23rd, 1913, when the Democrats passed the Federal Reserve Act. But more on that another time. On a good note, we do know that turning on the dollar printing presses will make us all millionaires even sooner. If it'll be worth anything by then. Just look at Turkey's stock market though. With annual inflation rates periodically in excess of 90%, that's a year, the Istanbul stock market is up over 2 million% in the last 19 years. 2 million%! So don't let anyone tell you inflation's not good for us. Yeah. Everyone wants to be a millionaire these days, and it'll happen soon enough. Unfortunately, I think it would mean a lot more if we weren't all paying $100 for a cup of coffee. Don't worry though, the price of coffee isn't considered for inflation purposes, so it really doesn't count. And don't worry about your inflation-adjusted Social Security checks down the road, if we'll see a dime of that anyway. You'll hopefully get at least $1,000 or so a month. Just try not buying your coffee at Starbucks, and maybe you'll be okay.